Hi everybody, welcome. Thank you all for showing up. We got plenty of people on board, 60 so far, well over 200 registered, so there's probably going to be a few more coming in, but I'll get cracking a little bit because I just like to get these things going. First of all, can everybody see and hear me? Could you put some yeses in the comment box if you can see and hear me? Excellent. Looking good so far. All right, I'm going to do a very brief intro of Lynn, and then I'm going to go and find him and I'm going to bring him in. So Lynn, as all of you will have known by now, has pretty much changed the face of the online personal training industry. A year ago, it was kind of all, have 3 packages, slowly drip feed people into your packages and build up steadily and do well. Fill up your time and use your time to work online. These days, the talk across the industry is huge. It's all, challenges. It's all flagship products. It's all, talking about scaling your numbers, getting people in quickly, getting lots of people in. And this has all really come from Lynn and what Lynn's been talking about. It wasn't long ago that Lynn was not a huge name in the fitness industry. And now he is, one of the really, really big players. And it's amazing to have him with us and talking to us. Other things that Lynn has that many people may or may not know is he is in the trenches himself as an online coach. Last year alone, if his website's up to date, he trained over 1,200 clients. Got great results with over 1,200 people himself online. So he's doing it himself as well as coaching. Lots of followers in the training community. So he's got 4,000 people or nearly 4,000 trainers in his Facebook group, which only started in August. So he's building that following up very, very quickly. 1,500 people a day are listening to him on a podcast. So the world wants to know what this man has to say. And now I am going to bring him in when I can find him. Give me a second.
Hey everyone.
There we go. Lynn, how are you?
Hey dude, you're making me blush down here in Melbourne with that intro. That sounds awesome, dude, but I can't take all the credit for that. It's the community that I'm surrounded myself by, but also just the people that have reached out. I just want to say thank you to every single person, including yourself, dude. I think it wasn't too long ago that we were on this conversation where it was kind of the reverse, which is super cool. But I think for everybody on this webinar tonight, I want to make it as impactful as possible, full of content, actionable content that's going to help you actually drive 2017 forward. I know a lot of your audience as well have a lot of questions regarding challenges, how to run them, why challenges are useful. I can't wait to dive into that, but I'm pumped. 71 people on here and a lot of familiar names. So I'm pumped to see all you guys. Just let me know in the chat box if you're in the Online Trainers Club. If you're not, then if you've never heard of me before, that's cool. I want to just yeah.
What do we got? Yeah, lots of people coming through.
Awesome, guys.
Great to have you with us, Lynn.
Awesome.
I've got a few questions. Quite a lot of questions.
Let's hit them one at a time. Hit them one at a time, and I'm always aware of the content that everyone's here for. So I want to make sure I want to give everybody some actionable advice, just because January is like the hottest time of the year for the fitness industry. It's where you can capitalize if you're doing the right things. But take it away, buddy.
Awesome. Right. I just wanted to start off. I got an idea of what you're going to say to this one, but if you were starting from scratch right now, you had no following, you had nothing apart from the knowledge that is currently in your head and a background as a face-to-face trainer that gets results. What would you do to start up your online business, and how would you do it in the quickest way possible?
Really, really good question. So really, really good question. I get asked this quite a lot as well. And the truth is, look, Tim, I'd find a niche. I find a niche that I'm completely passionate about. That's the first thing, because I talk about this a lot, and I used to train dads, and it wasn't something that I was passionate about. It was because I could run a Facebook ad that was targeted towards them. I'm a strength training guy. I love training and lifting heavy inside the gym. When I trained dads, I was telling them how to do air squats. I was telling them how to do push-ups. I didn't care. Now, the difference between this is getting clear on, do you want to make money short term, or do you want to build legacy, or do you want to build something that you can actually build and sustain on and become the best? Because you know what, I've changed my mindset because I've done a lot of things wrong in the past, and I've done a lot of things wrong by asking the wrong questions, and the wrong questions were, how can I make money today? And there's a lot of different ways you can make money today, but if you want to be relevant in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, you really have to do something that you actually give a shit about, and you're willing to be the best. So when you say, I'm going to be the best at this, your mindset changes. Your mindset says, okay, I'm going to be the best and no one's going to compete against me. I think that's the first thing that you have to get your mindset into. It's getting into that space. I think for me, if I was to go back into it now, in fact, I might do something that's kind of along this line, just and do it as almost proof of evidence of how easy it is go back and almost go into the male entrepreneur space. One of the reasons is because I'm kind of living that life at the moment. I understand the pain points. I understand how lazy I can get as an entrepreneur when I'm focusing on businesses and I let go of my body. I understand the pain points, and I have a passion for fitness. So for me right at this very moment, I understand that there are two things that I need to do in order for me to grow a business. Number one, I need a balanced short-term cash flow. A lot of people don't understand this, and it's like, what are the actions that you need to take when you're starting a business to get some cash inside of the business? Because if you don't have cash, unfortunately, Tim, not a lot of trainers know this, if you don't have cash, your business, it's like petrol for your car. It's not going to take off. And so a lot of trainers are told to spend money on email marketing, blogging, selling via webinars. And truly, I agree, those modalities are awesome. And for me, I've been doing this stuff for quite a while, and I've only started selling via webinars in the last 3 to 6 months, as you've probably seen, right? So for me, and I trust me, going 17, 18 times doing my webinar before perfecting it and making a first sale, that's very hard. I think it's important if you're starting out to get some quick wins on the table. So let's pull it back a little bit. I really wanted to make that first point. I think that's very important to understand that the quality of the question is going to dictate the outcome, because I don't want to help people here get clients and then hate their lives in 3 months when they're not working with the right clients. So for me, right at this very moment in time, and it changes, understand that it can change. I think a lot of people get scared that if they go into a niche and they need to change that niche, it's, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that forever. And I'm like, I didn't do the corporate guys forever. I didn't do the 25 to 35-year-old corporate guys forever. Right now, if I was to do it, I'd go into the entrepreneur space. I'd talk to an entrepreneur. I understand the pain points of an entrepreneur. And the fastest way for this very, very moment in time is I'd set up a challenge, like at 7, a 10-day challenge, really talking about their pain points. Now, I started kind of popularizing challenges, and I used to put out my 7-day diet challenge for everybody in the online trainers club to see. I think the challenge is where you're going to hook the right people. Now, if everybody puts out a 7-day diet challenge, it doesn't work. For these entrepreneurs, dieting and health and fitness isn't high on their values. And so if I put something out like a diet challenge, I'm not going to attract entrepreneurs only, right? If I put a challenge out based on performance, based on a return on investment, then I start to speak their language and I can start to attract them, which is very important. Okay, yeah, so I'll go on in a bit of a tangent of what I do. So I'd launch a challenge, and I'd make sure that, number one, the challenge is a 7-day or a 10-day challenge on building habits for entrepreneurs. This is my niche market, building habits and focusing on performance to increase their highest, what they really want. What is it that these entrepreneurs really want? And if they can feel like people like Gary Vaynerchuk and guys out there like Tony Robbins who care so much about their health and fitness, if I can make them see that if they attach themselves onto my system, they will achieve success in business, then I will be able to sell them. But unfortunately, if you have a look at your target market with entrepreneurs, health and fitness is down the very bottom. And so a lot of trainers will fail because they're trying to sell them something that entrepreneurs don't value. And they don't value health and fitness. They value success. They value money. They value productivity. They value structure. They value, all those other things, and health and fitness at the bottom. So I need to craft my flagship program. So I'd run a challenge. I'd run a 7-day, I'd run a 10-day challenge. I would get them results in advance. Okay, so really, really important. Now, here's the kicker. Most trainers run a challenge and they give everything away.
Right.
And I don't believe, it's not that that's a bad thing. It's not that you shouldn't hold any information back. But the truth is, in order for somebody to get results in 7 to 10 days, they need to do one thing and they need to do it well. They need to build a habit. Okay. If you give them 7 different things, they're going to drop off. Okay. But a lot of trainers don't understand that. What you have to understand, if you're running a challenge, some people will start on day 1. Some people might not open your email until day 3, day 4. And if they feel like they've missed step 1, 2, 3, they're going to go, holy shit, I've missed out on step 1, 2, and 3. I'm not even going to attempt to do the challenge anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and
that's
so
massive.
A lot of the times I've had to recraft this because I've fallen in that trap. I started off with a challenge. I gave everything. My challenges ended up being, hey guys, skip breakfast, have coffee in the morning, have 2 meals a day. That is it. I nailed that in. That's all I nailed. And then I brought me to the picture. That's it. Okay. So yeah.
That's so you wouldn't even put a training program into a challenge.
It depends what your challenge is. It depends. Yeah. If you're training athletes and you've got a challenge for athletes, let's say you're an athlete and you're trying to train an NRL player and you're in that niche and your flagship program helps turn rugby players pro, then your challenge could be like something like learn how to gain 50% on these 3 lifts by making 3 tweaks to your technique. And you might talk about staying tight under the bar. You might talk about hip movement, hip drive. You might hammer that home. Very, very important to understand that you have to know your niche. This is the biggest thing that I see a lot of people get wrong, is that they don't know their niche and they follow what other people are doing. And if you follow my diet challenge and you're in the market of mums and you're not talking her language, goodbye. There's no monetizing there. Yeah. So I think understanding that. And so if I do a diet challenge for entrepreneurs, I'm going to fail. Right? If I start talking about diet, health, abs to entrepreneurs, I fail. If I start talking about productivity, ROI, mindset, focus, I will monetize, and that I speak their language. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I mean, from what I see, I think people are getting the idea of niche. They're getting the idea of speaking the language before the program, but actually in the challenge itself, I think that's taking it to the next level. So I think it is a great point. You pretty much answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just to clarify. Yeah. Would you do anything differently if there was no consideration on time and you were just building for purely a sustainable online business that continued to grow?
No, I don't think I would, because I think it is so important for us as business owners to get traction. If we don't get traction, we don't get those quick wins. You have to understand that to operate a business, our mind's probably the biggest thing that's holding us back, right? To take it to the next level. I think a lot of us, if we don't see those quick wins, we lose momentum and we will bail out. So I'm all about trying to get that fire, but balance it as well with long-term branding, positioning, authority, all those good things. So let me give you an example right at this very moment in time. I think that every single person in here needs to understand your challenges, your tactical stuff is really short term. What I mean by that is the time that you put in the challenge is just going to extract the money then and there. You need to focus on your email list, your assets. Okay, so what I taught inside for my legacy members, I talked about this conveyor belt method. Okay, now imagine this. Let's say this scenario, for example. I have 100 entrepreneurs sign up for my challenge. I'm able to get them results in advance. They love me. They've lost 3 kilos. They're feeling better. They're feeling like they have more structure. I educate them at the 7 days and I say, look guys, this is what we've done. And because they've invested 7 days into my program and they've gotten results, I become the authority and I need to educate. And I need to say, in order for you to achieve X, Y, and Z, attaching it to their highest value, which is success, which is, better relationships, better partnerships, all that kind of stuff that they actually want, not health and fitness, because that's my niche. If I can attach my flagship program to that, I can sign up 5 clients out of the 100 for $1,000, okay? Once I've done that, I've got 95 people that, and I really come down to the numbers. And let's say I'm paying $3 per lead. I've got 100 people. I spent $300 in here.
Yeah.
I've signed up 5 clients. I've made $5,000. But the best thing about this is not only are you immediately in a return on investment, you now have built an asset. You've got 95 people here, which you can bring them into the middle and continue to nurture if you're consistent. And I call this the middle bucket. I call this the bucket where it's like your bank account. Suddenly you grow the number of people that work inside your bank account. All you need to do is deliver emotional value or value every single day to them on a consistent basis through podcasts, through email, through a Facebook group, through live videos. And what you will notice over time is as this bucket grows, because every time you run a challenge, you get 100 people. And so this bucket grows from 100, 200, 500, 1,000. What you're going to notice is that when you are consistent every single day, that bucket will start returning money to you. And so when I look at growing any business, I'm starting to look at, okay, how can I, number one, add value, get the short-term wins, and how can I grow this bucket, but also at the same time generate a return on investment, okay? And so a lot of things that a lot of trainers have done is put out lead magnets to grow this bucket, but they've been throwing money down the drain. If you run a challenge, you sign up 5 clients, you make $5,000. If you're selling $500 program, you'll make $2,500. You grow this bucket, you add value, and you play the long-term game. Because this, from here, I talk about this as well, the buyers from this middle bucket are more loyal. They'll sign up with you because they actually want and like you, and they've listened to your stuff. The people from the challenge, they're not as loyal yet. Just because they're your clients, you have different level of clients that come in. The ones that will stay with you for life, the ones that will join you because they've just got a problem that you can solve. And ultimately, if you want to work with high quality leads, the best thing is to grow this bucket, add value, and deliver. So I'm always looking at ways to grow this bucket because I truly believe that that's your asset. But at the same time, I'm thinking of different ways that you can plug into the front end, such as your challenge, such as, let's say, a video series. If you get really fancy, you can go to a webinar and you can grow this middle bucket. But you know what the problem is, Tim?
Yep.
The problem is most trainers won't be consistent enough inside of this middle bucket, and they will focus here. And when you focus here, you run a hamster wheel. And what I mean by a hamster wheel is every single month, you have to turn the ads on, you have to call people, and you'll never get people who know, love, and trust you. And that's the biggest problem, okay?
Brilliant. I love what you said there. I mean, that's the whole way we run our business, and it's the first time I've ever heard anyone talk about that middle bucket. Let's say, okay, so from challenge, you got your 5 people signed up and your 9 to 5 you want to put into the bucket.
Yeah.
What's your method from getting them from the challenge into the bucket? Are you putting them onto an email list? Are you putting them in a Facebook group?
When somebody opts in for a challenge,
to do that?
Yeah, awesome. When somebody opts in for a challenge, they're automatically added to the email list. They're automatically added to the Facebook group, or some are. So generally what we use for a challenge is we use a Facebook lead generation ad. And that's super, super easy because what it allows you to do on mobile, it allows somebody to click 1, 2, 3 times, enter and view your website, and inside of that view website, you can put the Facebook group as the URL. And so when they click on when they click on view website, they're redirected automatically to your group where you can add them. Okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Cool.
And you then take email address, phone number on that lead ad.
I would take email and I would take name. No need for a number. Okay. Cool. Inside of the challenge, that's when you say, hey, do you want to have this conversation with me? That's when you ask for their details. That's when you get them to book in for a call with you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Love that. I want to touch on something. You've mentioned it twice, so I'm going to bring it right up to the top of my question instead of towards the end. Mindset. Now, I'm lucky. I get to talk to a lot of the top people in the industry. And as you know, we kind of talk on the phone or send messages in the sort of background to get these sort of things happening. And something that's always struck me about you more than anybody else is that you think big picture. Your mindset is always big growth, looking at the whole picture, how you can change, thousands of lives. You're not looking to help 1, maybe 2 people. With this, you take huge actions. You set up your podcast, you set up your webinars, you set up your group, you set up the online trainers summit. Everything you do is ambitious, bold, and you kind of go for it and you achieve. Is this a mindset you were born with, or is it something that you've learned?
No, dude, it was super interesting because when you did the introduction with me and you said how I came over nowhere, the only person that would truly know how far and long I've come is my partner, Kerry, because she's seen me go through all the ups and downs. And for the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been studying, I've been putting in the work. And then I got to a point where I was consuming so much. I was consuming so much information. I knew all the strategies. I'd spent, thousands of dollars in coaches, in courses. I learned literally everything. At the time, when you're broke, you have so much time to do things, right? And so I was learning all the stuff. And the only person that will tell you this is my partner, Kerry, and she knows this. And it's funny because I got to a point where I said, you know what? I know so much and I'm not doing anything with it. I might as well know nothing at all. And I got to this point of dissatisfaction. Tony Robbins, super, super guy. Got to this point of total dissatisfaction. I said, I'm so pissed off with myself that I'd rather know nothing. I'm worse than the people that know nothing, because at least I know something. And I got to this point of dissatisfaction. I said, you know what? I signed up and I'd reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of people told me they needed help because they'd been burnt by business coaches. They'd done these courses and it was airy and fluffy and people weren't getting the results. And so they wanted to know how they could do it as well. And I said, okay, well, at the time I was playing small and I thought, well, I'm not as big as these gurus out there. They're these gurus. You can't be as big as these gurus. And then what I realized as I dug more and more and as I helped more people and more people started approaching me to kind of go, Lynn, hey, how are you doing this? I've been burnt by business coaches. Can you help me? And, I've got no more money to invest. And I'm like, dude, here are the systems. Go and do this, go and do that. And that started in about May of last year. And then I thought, okay, holy shit, this is getting to me because there are so many of these gurus that are supposed to be helping people. And you know what? It's really, really funny because not every coach is bad. Not every business coach is bad. We just hear about the bad ones. You never hear about the good stuff. You always hear about the bad stuff. So I heard a lot about the bad stuff. And, for me, putting together the summit was a big thing because it was almost like, I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to interview all these people and I want to jab with them on a strategic level. I want to jab with them to really see how smart they are. And so, I put together the summit, had about 7,500 people register, which was really, really cool. It was the first time I put together a summit and I just did it. And I just said, look, this can't be too hard. 44 interviews over 10 days and we get this going. And what I found that was the biggest breakthrough was that these gurus that I was interviewing didn't know actually any more than I did. Like they didn't know it. And most of them were, how do I put this? They were old school. They were out of the game. They were, they were using strategies that worked a year, 2 years ago. And if you're in the game today, you have to understand that marketing and evolution is evolving so quickly that if you're not in it, you forget about it. You're not going to be able to monetize. You're not going to be able to learn quickly. But also I talk about staying ahead of the marketing curve. Because if you're ahead of the trend, if you're innovating, you're going to get all the cheapest leads. You're going to get all the new leads. There are customers everywhere. But if your cost per advertising is going up, if you're running those huge opportunity ads and you're seeing them rise, then it's because you're behind the 8 ball. Okay, so you always want to stay ahead of the 8 ball, and that's by following the people that actually are doing it. So. Yeah. Dude, Tim, like that's really it, man. I think I got to this point of dissatisfaction. I'd learned so much, and then what I realized these guys, there are a lot of people that need help, and I put it on myself, and I took it upon myself to go, you know what, I got over that fear of what people think of you, because if you know yourself deep down and you know that you're doing the right thing, then that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Nice. I think actually I'd like to just go on to that point a bit. It's a big take home for a lot of trainers, because I see a lot of trainers who think, well, I don't know what, yep. So-and-so knows, big name in the industry, Paul Check, let's say, I don't know what Charles Poliquin knows or something like that. But actually what you know is often a huge amount and has a better rounded understanding, and the world needs to hear it. No one will say what you say in the same way you say it. Right. So, for me, people should have that confidence and the mindset that you have to just get out there and do it. So I just add that little bit to what you're saying there.
You're completely right, man. I think a lot of people undervalue themselves because you compare yourself against social media and what you see on social media, which is the best version of everybody else. And when you look at yourself and you think you're having a bad day, you're like, well, I'm not as good as these people. What you have to need to understand is you need to shut yourself up. You need to stop consuming. And for me, the biggest thing, Tim, is that I don't consume. I have this wonderful Facebook newsfeed blocker that it's called, it's a Chrome extension. It blocks off my newsfeed, so I don't consume any of the information. If you follow me on Instagram, I follow one person, and that's my fiance. You know, so I'm not consuming anything, because the truth is, if I start consuming, that's going to inflict self-doubt. That's going to inflict self-doubt. Yeah. And so when you get self-doubt, you don't take any action because your mind's like, holy crap. The thing that matters today is whether or not you're willing to take action. Like anybody's game, and it's willing or not, it's yours if you're willing to step up and take the action. I think a lot of people don't, because they knock themselves out before they even begin. And nice. What I was doing for years. So I get it. I get it completely.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm going to go back to challenges.
Yeah.
What do you think is working best currently, right now, to bring people into challenges?
I think if we're talking about cost per lead, something that's cheap, it's very important that you understand your target market and what they want. That is, I can't say that, and I can't stress that enough. A male corporate 25 to 35-year-old thinks he knows about training. He doesn't want to know about training. He thinks he knows how to train, right? He thinks he's got a belly problem. He thinks he's got a diet problem. So awesome. If you put out a diet challenge, it's going to work fantastically for him. You're going to be able to talk his language. I think most people don't denote the key outcome or benefit inside of their ad. That is, they get too fluffy, they get too vague. So a very good example of a challenge ad will be something like, hey, this is me. This is Lynn. I'm running a 7-day challenge because I want to help 20 more guys understand my protocol to get into shape. If you're looking for X, Y, and Z, click here and join here right now. So if you're looking to shred, and remember, you have to be fancy around Facebook's terminology, so you can't say shred fat, you can say shred. If you're looking to get back into shape, if you're looking to get leaner, you can use those words. Then click here and join now. And what you should notice is your challenge leads are going to be about 80 cents to $2, and that's okay. And you're not going to get what I was able to get, where I was getting 20, 30 cent challenges leads in 2015 at the end of that. And that was the best run that I had. So if you do that and you follow that formula, it's great. But I think the biggest thing is people need to understand what their niche market really wants. The mum's going to want something different, completely different to the bikini body chick, and she's going to want something different to, let's say, a comp prep girl, if you're gonna attract them into your challenge.
Yeah, nice. And you'd run that straight to a cold audience?
I'll run that straight to a cold audience, yeah. And that's what we talk about, the bucket method. We get cold, and then you get them into this big bucket, warm them up, and then monetize at the end and get them to becoming your clients.
Nice, nice. Best ways to maximize conversions from a challenge into your flagship product?
Okay. Education and rapport. So I've done this quite a few times. I said that, you know, when trainers are going online, I think we're all running this race of trying to get clients. We're all running. And basically, when it comes to this very first hurdle, most trainers will stumble. Okay. And that hurdle is jumping on video. I think if you're an online trainer, you can't have a video presence. If you suck on video and there's no engagement like this, then you can't build trust. Okay, and so it really comes down to your video presence. It comes down to how much engagement, how much authenticity, how much passion you have for what you do. I think a lot of the stuff comes from the actual person selling the challenge as opposed to the tactical areas, because I can give you all the tactics, and I've given somebody all the tactics from A to Z, and they knew everything on the back of their hand. But when it came to monetizing, nothing. And the reason it was because there was no engagement, there was no trust built, there was no authenticity regarding the video. So live videos will be awesome. But here's the thing. Once you give them what they want, and let's say the challenge is a 7-day diet challenge for a 25 to 35-year-old male, he's going to lose 3 kilos to 5 kilos. I've seen some guys lose 6 kilos because they're just so overweight, or, you know, they've just been eating so much crap and they're so bloated. You need to educate him. And what I mean by educate is you need to say, you need to give him the next step in order for him to achieve his hopes, dreams, and desires. He's lost 7 kilos, but that's not what he really wanted. He wants the abs if he's in that niche. He wants to feel better. He wants to feel more strong, more confident. So you need to educate him on the pros of taking action with you okay, and having a systemized coaching plan, or if he's going to do things the way he's always done things in the past, which is do a fad diet and drop off. So you've helped him lose that 5 kilos. It's now education. And the thing about this is a lot of people will say, Lynn, they haven't invested, therefore they're not a high quality lead. You don't have to invest money to be a high quality lead. You invest time, you invest effort, you invest sweat equity. Okay, so if a guy's lost 5 kilos and you can educate him, he's lost 5 kilos, so he's looking at me going, holy shit, man, you are the expert. Awesome, no one's ever helped me for free. What do I do next? So isn't it funny, like when you help answer somebody's question and you move them a step forward, they tend to ask you what the next step is, right? It's just for anybody. So that's the methodology behind this, is that he's going to ask you, what do you do next? Well, you educate, and this is where you tell the truth. This is where you're like, honestly, look, what have you done in the past? Have you set up the right habits? Have you had a coach? Have you put some skin in the game? Have you set up your metabolism correctly so that you don't store and your hormones don't go to shit? Have you, are you developing the right strategies around eating out around these events? And so you can talk about an array of things, and you can tell them what's going to happen if they don't take action. And because they've invested with their results, their sweat equity, they've got a decision to make now. And so at the end of the day, that's really the simplicity of the challenge. And why I love the challenge is because it doesn't require email automation, funnels, setting up landing pages, Facebook ads, tracking pixels, all those things. It is a Facebook group, it is get them results, it is educate them on video. And that is it. Now, that's really the key formula. I think the biggest issue is that if you aren't there, if you, who is the biggest piece of the puzzle, if you're not there, you're not going to monetize. Okay, so a big thing for trainers is to get great on video, to get good engagement, practice. How do you get good at something? You just do it again and again and again and again, right? I can give you a YouTube video of me in 2013 in my kitchen looking like a deer in headlights. I always laugh at it. But
that'd be quite funny. Yeah, is it still live?
It is. I posted it many times in the online.
Just bring it up and stick it in.
People have they've gone, holy shit, you're good on video. And it's like, no, dude, I'm good at squatting because I've been squatting every single day for the last 3 years. That's how I can squat heavy. I'm good at video because I consistently train myself to become better and better and better. Now, that's the thing. It's just, are you willing to put in the work? The strategies are there. Run a challenge, put them in this bucket, add value to your niche every single day. Be consistent, do the work, and you'll monetize. If you're bad at video, and that's the biggest thing, like I say this to most trainers, I say, how would your life change if you were fantastic on video? And most trainers are going, holy shit, I'd be awesome. Then I'm like, okay, so you know exactly what you need to do. So it's almost like going, how would your life change if you were awesome at this? And they can see it straight away. They're like, oh, it'd be awesome. I'd sign up all the clients. I'd build a massive channel. It's like, dude, well, that's the thing. Do the work. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I like that. Any tips for getting better at video other than just making lots of videos?
Honestly, it's funny. I haven't really looked back. I've just done it. It's getting over that fear. It's getting over that mindset thing that the truth is, and I'm going to tell you something, most people don't even care about you. They care about themselves. And so by you putting out a video there, they're not even going to second glance at it. You can do almost the worst thing in the world, right? You can get away with a lot of stuff and people won't even remember it a couple of days a week from now. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's adopting the mindset that people just care mostly about themselves. They really don't care about you. And so I think if that's the biggest hurdle, I can't say I've done any courses on video training or anything like that. I've just been practicing.
No, that's cool. I mean, I actually love the line you came out with there was that you just do it. I think same with a lot of stuff, just do it.
I think
using
so.
nice things.
And stop. And the truth is, I think the biggest thing I can give to most trainers at the moment is stop consuming, because consuming is going to wire more patterns inside of your brain, which then gives you more options, and more options is bad. You don't want more options if you haven't done anything. You want to open one door, do that door successfully, and then try to look at what other options and then pick one and then go through that. The more options you have, the worse off you are, because you're just paralyzed. It's like It's like, think about this, your clients who have 7 different diets that they could potentially do in 2017. Think about them getting results. It just doesn't work. It's like, go and do one and stick to one course and make it successful. You know, I can't really emphasize that enough.
Brilliant. Yeah, I like that. Right, flagship product. What sort of stuff? Would you have a template for a flagship product? Or do you think it completely changes depending on the niche of the trainer?
It's cool, dude. I get this question a lot, and it's like, how do I train people? Do I need complete customization for the person? And this is where we go a little bit more in-depth inside strategy, because I believe in 2 things. I believe in understanding who your niche market is, but inside of that niche market, I believe in understanding who your ideal client is. Now, if you don't understand these 2 things, you're going to be in big trouble if you look at scaling your online fitness program in 2017. The good news is you're here and you're watching. So what I mean by this is your niche market might be dads. And let's say I'm going to work with dads. But remember, inside of that niche market, I have an ideal client. Now that dad, in order for him to be ideal, he needs to be training in the gym. He needs to have a good understanding of nutrition. He needs to know what a carb, fat, and protein is. This is my ideal client. Doesn't have to be yours. But this is the guy that if he was to work with me, I'd have the most fun with, and I could plug into my system to get in the best results. Because here's the thing, if you go out there and you advertise to your niche market, your flagship program, if you've got a dad that's never trained in the gym and your flagship program is all about the gym, it's incongruent and you're going to staff things up. He's not going to get it. And so what I usually say to trainers is I say, here's your ideal client. Here's your niche client, okay? Every piece of content that you put out is going to push this niche client to becoming your ideal client. So if a guy's never trained in the gym before, you have to educate your niche on why it's so great to train in the gym. You should give him exercise. You can give him stuff for free so that when he comes to this ideal point, you can then plug him into your flagship program, which is almost like, I want a Big Mac. Sweet, here's your Big Mac. Come in here. Now, inside of that flagship program, yes, when they all start at a specific starting point, that's when you can plug them in and they can get a great end result. Because as you know, 85–90% of clients will get the similar results off the same program, and that's great. Now, for the people who want VIP first class, that's when you can have 2 tiers, and you want to keep it simple as this. I have my flagship program. It's a 16-week program for dads that's going to take him from 0 to hero. He has to be an ideal client. He has to understand weight training. Okay, he has to understand basic diet for him to get the best benefits out of my program. That is $1,000. Now, if he wants to work one-to-one with me, I can sell my one-to-one services over the 16-week course with one-to-one access with me, my phone number. I'm going to give you can text me anytime you want. We can jump on Skype anytime you like. And I'm going to put that service up at $5,000. Because I know generally you might have 1 in 10 people that buy your product want that VIP because they need that help and they're willing to fork out that money, especially when you've built that trust inside of the bucket, okay? And they know how valuable your time is. And so if you say, look, I'm not working with anyone one-to-one unless they pay me $5,000 and everyone else comes inside of this system, your life becomes so much more easy, so much more simplified. You're not there writing spreadsheets and customizing it for the dad who does CrossFit, for the dad that does cardio, for the dad that works out at home, for the dad that works out in the gym. Your life's going to be miserable. And I know this because I've been through this process, right? And I had to get smart and I had to go, okay, who is my ideal client? And I can't be greedy. I have to say no. But understanding that the good thing is if all your free content goes out to ascending your niche client to becoming your ideal client, you win. Because most trainers don't even think strategically at this level. Most trainers will take on anybody. Most trainers say yes. And it's understanding that you can't be desperate in this game of building business. You have to say no. You have to say no, and you have to understand that you are so good that it will come. But you have to keep pushing. I think there's always the temptation when you're on this journey to stop and take the cash off the tree, but it really slows you down from going there. And there's just a lot of distraction. I think if you understand what I just told you and you watch the replay and you understand that your niche client and your ideal client are 2 completely separate things, and that you understand that every single person needs to become your ideal client before they get plugged into your system for them to get great results, then you'll win. You can't plug everyone into your flagship program. if that's what I'm trying to tell you, because if you do, you're going to come up with a lot of different matches.
Yeah, very nice. Client support. So you talk about, you upsell 5-6 grand one-to-one. With the flagship program, you put them all in a Facebook group and you use that for support, or do you have a different?
A lot of the times when I was doing it as well, and what I would do is I talk about selling 3 times a year, because a lot of the times when I used to get greedy myself, because I got greedy, and I figured out this system and I figured how to deliver trust. Well, why wouldn't you sell every single fucking day, right? I got greedy. And so the problem with getting greedy is that you don't get your clients results because you lose motivation, lose track. So I set it up so that I only sold 3 times a year. I would batch sell so that every single person would start and they would finish at the same time. And you have to think about this. If you're climbing Mount Everest, and you're going to do this massive climb, because getting into shape for guys who have never gone into shape before is like climbing Mount Everest for trainers, right? If you do it by yourself, what are the chances of you succeeding? Not very high. But if you do it with a group of people, if you do it with 30, 40 other people, you're all going to push and motivate each other. So do not get greedy. You want to start, you want to finish at the same time. Because the thing about this is, as coaches, you and I both know that clients will drop off after 3 weeks. Clients will drop off after 6 weeks. Clients won't even respond to any messages after 9 weeks, okay? And so the way to counteract this is to use psychology and understand what drives them. Social pressure is a big one. Seeing other people inside of the group succeed when you think that they're losers and you think at the start, oh my God, this guy's got no hope. I'm going to win this. I'm going to beat him. And then you get into week 5 and he's smashing your ass. That motivates you to get back into shape. So it's understanding that you need to hunt, and then you need to sleep. Hunt, rest inside of your business, and understand that if you can start your business at a particular point and finish at a particular point, and use these results here whilst you're delivering to add value to that bucket every single day, the next bucket's going to be, the next challenge is going to be so much. The next flagship program you launch is going to sell out. I think it's having that strategy in that brain. Now, in terms of what do we use? Yes, membership sites and flagship programs. We use email. We use Facebook Live. I use Zoom calls quite a lot, and I get accountability buddies. So we do 4-on-1 calls. I get guys to tee up with other guys to keep each other accountable. And I was using a PBCD Platinum Snapchat account, and I would get an assistant to check all the Snapchats. So I had a VA in there making sure that everyone was posting their meals and everyone was getting the right support. I think fundamentally at the end of the day, the biggest and the strongest thing for you to get results is to start and finish at the same time, and use pain and pleasure. Okay.
Love it. That is nice. Keeping clients long term. You've got a 16-week flagship product. What happens after that?
Generally what happens, they'll get a follow-up call, and they'll get an option to re-sign up at 50% of the price and just be in. So a lot of the times, in order for you to grow your business, you need to motivate, you need to inspire people, and at the same time, you need to recruit people. That's what I found, that when you want to grow your business, you need to recruit people on board. The best people to recruit on board are your customers and your clients that you've gotten results for, because suddenly now John's gotten results. If you tell John, hey, John, I'm going to let you in, you've got 2 options. You can either be one of my lieutenants and help the other guys out in the next challenge, or you can come in at 50% of the price. And so a lot of the times that was how I was selling that. I got to a point where I had so many guys come into the flagship program that I need to build out a $37 a month product and course and membership side. And that filled up because I now had this front end, and then people were coming off. At the time, it was just hard to handle the systems. It was hard to handle the content. It was hard to handle the engagement. It pissed me off because when people are paying $37 a month, they want the world and they're not getting any results. Because if you pay somebody $37 a month, that information is next to free, and therefore you're juggling, should I take the free information or should I take the $37? Now, if you pay me $1,500 a month versus $1,500 versus the free, you're going to listen to me. So a lot of the times, and I think John Goodman spoke about this, and I'll have him on the podcast next week, but we talk about membership sites and how it's monthly recurring passive income. And yet at the end of the day, I had 1,000 members in there. I hated it because, number one, so many questions. Number two, no one would actually do anything, get results off anything. Number three, I lost motivation because I think as coaches, all I want to see at the end of the day, what really drives me now, and I figured this out, isn't the money, it's getting the results. I would take a guy on, train him, and if he got results, I'd be happy and I wouldn't take his money. That would be way better than if a guy paid me 10 grand and he didn't get no results. If he paid me $1 million, in fact, if he paid me $1 million, I'd feel so bad and I'd want to refund him. But it's coming down to understanding, okay, if you're in the business of getting your clients results, you need to get them to invest some skin inside of the game. That is, they need to put their arm on the table for you as well. If you can do that, that's when you're going to get them results. So it's understanding what drives people. In terms of membership side, it's a tough avenue. And I've spent years in online internet marketing systems, web development, all that gibberish stuff that wasn't fun years ago. But I think for most trainers, if you can do this system well, and let's say you have a $1,000 product and you want to make $100,000 a year, sell 100 of the programs. Yeah. And that's it. And that is it. And that's your key number. 100 programs, that's about 8, 9 a month, 10 a month, 9 to 10 a month, 9 to 10 clients. So it really becomes easy. And when you start batch selling, it becomes easier. So I think at the end of the day, there's so much complexity. And I think most trainers will go, I'm going to do this membership site because they have this fear of selling this higher ticket item and they think that it's going to be easy. But guys, you have to remember, you have so much energy in the day. You only have so much time in the day. And I think your biggest asset is yourself. So you need to protect yourself. You need to do the things that inspire you and drive you. And for me, that's getting people results. When I get people results, I feel so good. Like I feel re-energized. When I don't get people results and I've got people paying me money and they're not getting results, holy crap, I feel really awful. Okay.
So, I mean, results-wise with that, do you think the main reason they weren't getting results is because it was cheap?
Cheap, definitely cheap, and conflict of information because there is so much information online. So when somebody doesn't put some skin, they don't commit, then they're not going to get results. So that's what I found. It's like everything, right? I think people will get results when they really pay attention and they pay big bucks with. You've always got the minority who will succeed because they're just so driven and they really want it and they need to get out of their pain. I think some people, the people that are sitting on the edge that are like, they're not in this spot that's so painful and they're not, they don't need to change. They need to invest money in order to change. So you'll get 10%, 5% of people who will just succeed because they're so determined, they really want it. I think working with a lot of clients and coaching clients now and trainers, I see it's the same pattern, dude. Is that I can give trainers all the information in the world, but unless you give me your car, then you're going to take action. And that's unfortunate, because that's when you'll take it seriously. That's when you'll hustle. That's when you'll do all the things. That's when you'll start thinking big. And that's when you'll get to a point of dissatisfaction that I went through because I knew all this information. I wasn't doing anything with it. So right at this very moment in time, we've got 92 trainers here. And you guys know, if you guys have been listening to Tim, you guys have been listening to the podcast or me inside the Online Trainers Club, you have all the information. The only thing that's stopping you now, you haven't reached that point of dissatisfaction to go off and do something with it and go all in.
It's nice. I like that. I want to go back to that a little bit, just because I'm interested, probably more personally than people listening, but I think people listening might get something from it as well, I hope. End of your 16-week package. Yeah. You bring them back into the same package as a reduced price.
Yep. Or I recruit them on as lieutenants. Yep.
Or what, sorry? Yeah. Have you tried or considered trying flagship product number 2, which is a more advanced version which you bring them into, or a more expensive version of a membership site that they would then go into for, let's say, their long-term, lifelong results? Really good question. No, I haven't. I haven't tried a more expensive avenue. One of the reasons why I launched the $37 a month is because my inner buckle got to about a list size of about 15,000 guys. And so the easiest way, the internet marketing side of me came out, and it came out with this strategy because you'll go to, these internet marketing seminars and you'll have gurus tell you what to do. And so I tested the membership side out with a trial, and that's the avenue I went down. Looking back, a higher price point would be awesome. I would just know that at that tier, what are you offering them for $97 a month is my question. Is it coaching? Is it webinars? What are you really offering them that they can't get elsewhere, if that makes sense?
So a lot of the
Yeah,
times people were paying 37 for the community to stay in there, to be like, oh, we're still a part of PB City, we're still a part of the Alpha project. But what my question would be, what would you offer for $97 a month? And could you do that consistently as well? So a lot of the things is, if you can't do things consistently, because what I've understood inside of business is the more products and services you create, the more systems around that you need to develop. And to create a system once and do it well, a marketing system to get leads, a sales system to sell, and then a fulfillment system to deliver and get them results, that's tough. Most people have trouble doing that one thing throughout their whole life. And so when you introduce something else, that's when shit can happen. That's do one thing, do it really well, and then develop. I think the mindset that I was in, $37 a month, was I had this big bucket here that I needed to get people in, and I didn't know that. It came to my mind. I didn't know what I could offer of value for 97.
Interesting. I mean, I guess I come from it from a slightly different perspective, because what we have is it's kind of set up so that the tech side, the delivery side of it is completely easy, takes care of itself. I mean, would you, let's say, go back again, would you consider just building something, continuing your flagship product, build it 1 month, first lot go through, build the next month, next lot go through, 97 a month? Would you think that would be a good idea, or would you just think better?
Is this after the flagship program?
After the flagship program.
Yeah, definitely. I would have to think about the systems and think about getting them results, because at the time, then you lose a lot of team members that drop off, because naturally you're going to get a drop-off rate. And for us, it was hovering around 40-50% until we'd sign them up and we'd say, hey, go and do this because you need your rest period now. Go and rejuvenate your mindset. And so a lot of the times the sell was, hey, take 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
Don't do anything stupid. Rejuvenate your mind and come back hungrier next time. And we're going to smash this even harder. And so a lot of the times the flagship program wasn't so much that they needed to become advanced. It was they just needed to perfect what they were doing. A lot of the stuff we had in there. And the truth is, I mean, a 16-week program with your squat, deadlift, bench press, pin up, yada, yada, how you progress that is you work on time and retention more, you work on overloading the weights, you work on more volume, and ultimately it's training them to master those key things. So I think for me, it was figuring out, okay, I'd seen so many people not get results, and I was going, oh, I don't want to add this heavy duty thing onto it. I would rather say to a guy, hey, you've done super well to get through 16 weeks. It's like climbing Mount Everest. It's like asking him to climb Mount Everest and then asking him to do another hike. You know, it's like, oh, actually, no, I'd rather not. So you give him that mindset break. And a lot of the times it's going, okay, understanding that they need that break. And for me, I think that worked out well. If I had done it the other way, maybe I could have monetized more, but my life would have been hell. Yeah. I probably, if I had more cash flow inside of the business to hire more coaches and have more systems on, that's great. But yeah, good question.
Cool. Right. I want to move away a little bit from flagship programs and challenges. And I want to go to something I touched on in the introduction and something that you've touched on since. I mean, as I said, a little over a year ago in the fitness industry, in fact, it was probably less than a year ago.
It was August.
Really? Didn't really know who you were.
Yeah, fun.
And now, I mean, you're a huge name, particularly in the online fitness industry. And I would say almost every online trainer knows who you are and knows a little bit about what you teach. And people want to listen to you speak, and people want to actually learn from you. How have you come from being little known to probably right up there alongside or very close to the likes of John Goodman in probably 8 months?
That's a very good question. I don't think I had a plan. I didn't have a plan strategically. I think the unique selling proposition for every single personal trainer out there is that I am in the trenches. I've done this stuff. I think a lot of trainers were getting dissatisfied that there were people out there teaching the stuff that wasn't working. A lot of people were pissed off, and they were paying money and they weren't getting results. Now, if you pay money and you don't get results, that's that's also on you as well. It's not just on the coach, but the coach has to take some responsibility on you. But at the end of the day, dude, I think it's coming back from saying, well, what's the unique selling point inside of the marketplace? I think, you know, if you have a look and you have a look inside of your business at the moment, you want to grow, you have to go, you can grow, but you can't grow doing the same thing everyone else is doing. And that's the problem. I think there are a lot of people, a lot of trainers that want to grow and they want to do the same thing every single other person is doing. When I put the podcast together, I thought, okay, how can I do this differently? And rather than, and I could have built the podcast, interviewing people and getting their listeners tune in, and I probably have 10,000 people. But the thing is, I've thought about it strategically in a sense, how do I be different? How do I be different? How do I be appreciated? And that's the bucket. You know, when we talk about buckets for every business, there is a core bucket for me. When I think about a business now, I'm thinking, okay, how can I monetize short term? How can I build trust, add as much value, gain as much trust, get people results, understanding who I really want to work with. I don't want to work with everybody. And I think a lot of the business coaches out there want to work with all trainers. I'm like, no, I do not want to work with you because you are not here yet. You are not my ideal client. So everything I put out then becomes free information. Take this stuff, take that stuff. My dream would be for every single person inside the Online Trainers Club to make $100K a year business, because that allows them to now become my ideal client, for me to take them to multi-six figures, $1 million, help them set up retreats, certification programs, do all this stuff that I'm doing inside of the Legacy Group. So I think the biggest thing, Tim, not from a strategic point of view, I think having that strategy, being an expert, being good at what you do really matters. But at the same time, being an expert at what you do, but also coming across with a unique selling proposition, is key, is vital. So those two things: be really awesome at what you do and be consistent, and also be unique. So if you have a look at me, and I think I'd like to think that I'm unique, and some people might find me super opinionated, and that's cool. And I will never work with those people. But what I try to do every single day is, if I could coach myself, who would I have needed? Who would I need yelling in my face to give me that kick up the ass so I can take action? And that's the person. I've built out the perfect person. I would have coached myself 2 years ago, and I would have listened to this guy. That's all I'm thinking about. When I think about my ideal client, I'm thinking about me 2 years ago. And so, yeah. Does that make sense? So in terms of strategy, I'd love to say, hey, dude, I launched this summit and then I set up this webinar and there was this 3-step system to becoming an expert authority. I'm going to tell you, man, it's consistent hard work. Like, I've done 103 podcast episodes in a row, and I hadn't touched podcasts prior to that. I didn't even know what a podcast, I didn't know how to set one up. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do it. The summit together, I'm just going to do it. Learning how to sell via webinars, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to give it a crack and I'll figure it out. And I think a lot of people have the potential, but it's just unfortunate that this thing inside your head stops you, because you're consuming what everyone else is putting online and how everyone else reacts. And the thing is, if you market the way other people are marketing, you'll forget about it. I want to be completely different with my stuff. I want to be known for something. And yeah, it comes. I wish I could tell you that there was a formula. I wish I could tell you there was a formula. Dude, it's getting people results. Build your business off getting people results, and you won't have anything to worry about. If you don't get people results, you'll be out. That will churn you out. You might get a few clients here and there. You might learn some tricks, tips, and strategies and whatnot. But if you can't deliver, if you don't care about the people that you're actually helping, forget about it. And I think everyone who has gone into one of my programs or know that I actually give a crap about them, and they can feel that, because I pride myself on getting people results. And I think that's
awesome. I love that. It's brought into my head two more very quick questions. Your message is obviously unique. It's brilliant, and you do get people results. How do you build up the audience? So how do you get that message right from the start in front of a large number of people so that you could continue to grow?
And the truth is, I started the Online Trainers Club in July with 50 people, and I posted every single day. And I posted every single day for a month and a half, for 45, 50 days, every single day, every one of my strategies. And, you know, it sucked that it wasn't as big, and I wasn't the thing is I was focused more on quality. That I know that if I could get 10 guys results, they would tell their people or they'd tell their friends, and I'd get more people and I'd get more people, and I built it that way. One of the things that I had in place, and it wasn't even and you know what the truth is, Tim? Here's the thing, I had nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose. I had absolutely nothing to lose when I started the Online Trainers Club, because I already had my businesses, I had my gyms, I was running, I was making cash. I didn't need it. And so for me, I could go in, and it was a fun project that I could go in and muck up the marketplace because I wanted to, and I had absolutely zero to lose. Now, the thing is, I did this, and it was a side project and a side hustle, and I consistently gave value every single day, 45 days, until I thought, hold on a second, I'm doing all this. What if I could reach more people? And I thought, the internet marketing then switched on. I thought, okay, cool, Summit. I need a big audience. Yeah. I'm going to just connect, and I'm going to ask these people if they want to be interviewed on how to grow their business, and I'll chat and I'll talk banter with them. I think in the end, it worked out pretty well, because we had, I think close to 8,000 people register for that summit. And in the B2B market, like when you run a summit in the business to consumer market, so if you're a men's fitness coach for dads and you run a dad summit, you're going to get 30, 40,000 people if you do it right. In the B2B space, business to business, 8,000 is a pretty good number. So like we did some really good numbers off that summit, selling the replays, selling the course on the back end of it. And I put together the course only because I wanted to give people everything that I had learned. Like other business coaches would, charging a shitload amount for. I said, look, guys, I'll give you the templates, I'll give you the challenges, I'll give you the sales scripts, I'll give you everything that you need to know, plug and play, take the course. Okay. And so it's, I think consistency, and I think knowing what your end game is. But the truth is, when I think back to July, I had nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose in it for me because I had things set up. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. On that, I mean, you're talking about posting every day for 45 days. Where'd you come up with the content? And is there a way that you organize it? Do you write it down? Do you just think as you go for a walk? I mean, how do you come up with daily content?
It's funny. And your content will come out with the interactions you have with your clients or the people around you every single day. So my best content came around when I was talking to other trainers and I heard about their frustrations. I was like, bing, there's content. It's just conversation. It's getting out there and talking to people who are your clients, who are your ideal clients, having that conversation and going, well, how can I help you? And then once you start probing, you start to see what problems people have. And that's how you come up with your content. Dude, I don't know how I've come up with 102 episodes of the same stuff every single day for 10 minutes, but I've come up with 10 minutes, 100, that's 1,000, that's 1,100 minutes of content every single day that I've had to rip out of my ass, only because I've talked to people, and I've talked to more and more people and offered advice and given value. And so content comes from talking to everybody, because people are going to have different problems. And so when you approach things, and if you want to get really good at something, you have to do something 100 times. Like I can talk to people and I can figure out 5 different ways to help them grow. I couldn't do that at the start. I can do that now because I talk to people so much. And it's like, if you want to grow, if you want to be really good at something, you have to do it. And so, yeah. That's where all the content comes from. It comes from just going, okay, I ask questions, I get on the phone, I listen, and then I say, okay, what, and I kind of connect the light bulbs to where I was and where they were. And then what was the kind of epiphany bridge for me to make that shift? Because I was stuck. Most people were at the same point I was at one point in time, And so taking that to the next level has been a big thing for me.
Awesome. I mean, have you got another 5-10 minutes, or do we need to end?
I might have to wrap this up. I've just got another call to get on, but man, it's everybody here. Like we've got 93 people on. Did you find this talk that me and Tim did exciting, appealing? Do you have strategies to take your business forward? Let me know. I'd love to hear, and that way I can, And do you have any questions that myself, or Tim's got great piece of software, guys. Like. I'm not going to put a favorite on any, but Tim's got a very good software that's completely customizable. It makes you look good. It's easy. So, and Tim, have you still got that 2-month trial on it, or is it a month trial?
It's a 1-month trial. Yeah, and you can run all of your systems that you talk about very, very smoothly.
All right, so go. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's quickly go back to you. Let's say there's some people here who don't know you, don't follow you, anything like that. Could you very quickly tell us how we can connect with you and how to sort of best hear some more from you.
Yeah, easy. So if you want to go, and this is cool because I'm changing up the podcast, the Online Trainers podcast a little bit. Once a week, I'm interviewing, we're doing these talks and then we're getting it on the podcast, plus the daily. So if you want to listen to me, Online Trainers podcast on iTunes, onlinetrainersclub.com. And then we've got the Online Trainers Club Facebook group, which is cool because I think it's I've had to filter, I've had my admin team filter a lot of junk out. We've had rules, we've kicked a ton of people out. So I like quality over quantity. I don't care about the crowd anymore. Like if you really think about it, if you had 1,000 clients for the rest of the year, if you had 100 clients who were paying you $1,000 each, that's enough revenue. I think most people are chasing these big numbers. And the biggest thing is to focus on the quality of the numbers. So I don't care about that group growing. It's a great group. I want the content quality of that to be high. So you can find me in there, the podcast, and of course there's Facebook. You can always find me on Facebook.
Awesome. Right, I think we don't seem to have questions. We just have to say lots of awesome. Thanks, Lynn. You're a legend. Fantastic.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know inside the Online Trainers Club, and of course add value, because when you help other people, when you teach other people, I've taken my game up to a completely new level now because I've had to teach other people. And when you teach other people something, you have obligation. You have obligation to be at the best of your game. You now suddenly go from sitting down at 10 o'clock at night, going to bed, to suddenly listening to podcasts, listening to courses, buying more courses, staying at top of your game because now you're teaching other people. I think the best thing for you to do is, if you want to get good at something, you have to teach something. And so that's why I always say, teach somebody else something that you know and help them grow, because when they grow, you'll grow. And that's truly come to light.
I like that a lot. Well, thank you so much for sharing so much with us. It's been absolutely awesome. I'm sure everyone's taken away lots. So thank you, Lynn.
Awesome, guys. Have a fantastic day, night, wherever you are. I'm going to go wind down and let me know what you guys thought of this. Thanks so much, Tim, for hosting this. This was really cool. A lot of fun.
Pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for listening as well. I know it's late for lots of you, and 93 have stayed all the way. So thank you very much.
That's a great number.
And yes, there were weddings for those of you that want them.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.